You're listening to Jonesy's Jukebox on KLOS. That was Roxy Music, In Every Dream Home, A Heartache, from the album For Your Pleasure. That was their second album, and we're here with Moby. What did we play before that? Folsom Prison?
Yeah, we played Johnny Cash, Folsom Prison Blues.
That was good.
Yeah, considering neither one of us had ever played it before.
Yeah. You know, because of that song and because of Johnny Cash did that show in Folsom Prison, it gives the perception that he's done time in jail. He's never done any time in jail.
That's a good question. I mean,
Lindsay Lohan's done more time.
Because he was the man in black, and he obviously, like some of us in this room, bottomed out as an alcoholic and a drug addict.
Yeah.
So I think he probably should have. I know there was that scene in the movie where I think it's like the police come to him and they're like, "Look, Mr. Cash, we respect you. We should throw you in jail, but if you get sober, we won't."
Oh,
Unless
okay.
I'm not remembering it correct. I would think I was, ironically, high when I saw that movie.
You did?
Yeah.
We played a prison, Sex Pistols, early on in England. It was called why'd I bring it up? And I don't know the blame in it. It was a maximum prison. Jesus. Have you ever played any prisons?
No, I made a music video in a like an abandoned women's prison. It was a video for Natural Blues, and
A video.
Yeah,
That's make believe.
It was complete make believe, but because it was abandoned, we went like the basement. There were these restraining rooms that had been empty for 20 years, and they're all like moldy, and it was one of the scariest places I've ever been. And this is an empty, decommissioned prison.
Yeah, Chelmsford prison. That was very early on.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the day. This was the day Cookie just passed his 4-year apprenticeship with as electrician for Watney's Beer Company.
Mm-hmm.
And on that day, he was drunk. So we were playing that night at Chelmsford prison, and he was drunk and he fell off his stool. And I don't know about you, if anyone else has played prison. Sorry, there's always the one nut job who gets up and starts dancing.
I think that's true for almost any sit-down show.
Yeah.
Like I played at the L.A. Philharmonic with Dudamel, and during the last song, one guy out of the 5,000 people there stood up and started dancing.
Yeah. This guy was like a long-haired guy, and there's always, he's doing like the Hawkwind dance with his hand in the hair, and it was fun. It was fun. I'm glad that we've played a Nick. You know, it's part of the ticking the boxes for me.
Yeah, I actually want to do H&I hospitals, institutions. I want to start doing prison reach out, like 12-step stuff.
They're good. They're good.
I've never done that. I'm like kind of scared to do it, but it seems like if you're going to be of service, that seems like a really desperate need to be of service.
No, it's good, and you feel grateful when you leave out the door.
Yeah.
You know, because it could go either way for you and me.
Oh, without question, yeah.
Without any control, if we were still drinking and using.
I remember one time in D.C., I was staying in a hotel, and the bars were closed, so I broke into a bar to steal alcohol.
Yeah.
And I remember afterwards, like walking away with the bar, I was like, oh, I just committed like 3 or 4 serious felonies for which, like burglary tools, breaking through a lock. So it's breaking and entering, stealing alcohol, etc., like drinking, all these things. I was like, I'm going to go to prison. Like if they had a security camera, I'd be in prison.
This was
Not that I'm not comparing myself to a hardened con, but that realization, like, oh, it was only like the fact that either the security camera wasn't working or they didn't have one that I didn't end up going to prison.
Yeah, and this was in a hotel?
This was a hotel bar, yeah.
Well, why didn't you get the little mini bar in your room?
Oh, because we'd already torn through the mini bar. Yeah,
gone.
that was already gone. Like this was 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, and like any last thing we could drink or snort had already been drunk and snorted.
You know what you could have done? If I was with you, this is what I would have done. Knocked on the door next door. If no one answered, kick in that door and invade that minibar.
Also a felony.
Yeah, but you know, a lot easier.
Probably.
Than the way you went.
But we wanted, the thing is, a minibar was never enough. Like we wanted like.
Oh, it's never enough, baby.
Yeah. So, what's happening now?
Well, we're talking. You're talking to me.
Oh, okay. So one thing I wanted to talk about, sorry to sort of like interject, is that we both have had this weird experience. Like you wrote you put out your memoir, and I just 2 days ago put out my second memoir. So that weird experience of going out, because your memoir is very honest, mine's very honest. There's a lot of stuff in both of our books that most people would never, ever share.
Mm-hmm.
And going out and talking about that in public is such a weird, especially like, did you ever have the experience where journalists would almost feel like they weren't allowed to ask you certain questions because they were too personal?
No, not really.
Okay,
mean,
so that question went nowhere. Sorry.
I mean, you
You're
know,
a terrible interview subject.
listen, when my book came out and I did the whole book tour, one of the first questions they ask you is the most thing in there about being molested.
Yeah,
They go straight to it. They don't fart around.
because in mine, that's one of my early chapters is also being molested, and that's the one people are like, oh, are we allowed to ask about that? I mean, there's certain things, like there's one chapter where I was sort of blackout drunk and I touched Donald Trump with my flaccid penis.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been asking about that.
Yeah.
But it's the more like my suicide attempts, abuse, those are the things where like the journalists are a little more hesitant around.
Yeah, yeah. Let me ask you something. If you get molested by a bear,
Yeah. Does it count?
is that being molested? Is
No,
that
I think it's just the natural order of things. It's like if you're an attractive man walking through the woods, a bear, like it's just their natural response to like attractive gentlemen such as us.
well, no, not you.
Like, I
Obviously,
couldn't-
not you, because he didn't want you.
I couldn't claim Me Too if I had been molested by the bear in Angeles National Forest. Unlike Donald Trump, who can claim Me Too for me.
Yeah, but he didn't fancy you, the bear.
What are you trying
He
to say?
let you go. Right? If he was an
I
attractive,
felt,
powerful
I felt
man.
bad about myself to begin with, and you're just reiterating the fact that this bear didn't find me attractive. Like, thanks.
We're going to visit the Duke.
What a way to spend my afternoon.
We're going to visit the Duke. We're here with Moby. Jonesy's